you're basically now just spreading the ink on. So either spreading it, if you're doing a really big piece, then you can use a roller to apply the ink. If you're just doing something very small and delicate, you might want to use a brush. So I'm literally, and I can feel it's kind of resisting it already because it's oil-based ink and we've got gum arabic down already. I can feel there's like a resistance in there.
So how much do you have to put on then? Is it just like...
It doesn't have to be really, really, really thick. It just
so it covers it?
It just covers it. The first layer that you put on goes on fairly easily. And you can do this part of the process up to 3 times. You shouldn't need to do it more than 3 times, and you'll see why in a minute. So I feel it's just starting to dry a bit there. The gum arabic's just starting to dry a bit, so it should be okay. Okay, so we've got the ink on. The next thing we do is to take a bit of paper towel, fairly wet, and just going to squeeze that on. Can you see already the ink is kind of moving?
Is that water?
This is just water. And then just start to blot it with wet paper towel. And can you see how the ink is just kind of lifting off the white areas, which I find just quite bizarre.
So when you're using a sponge, is it just that little bit easier, is it, than the paper towel?
Just because it's a bit, yeah.
So if they really wanted to get into it, they could use a sponge.
Just any cheap sponge.
Yeah.
So I'm just moving the paper towel around because you want to try and keep this as clean as possible. So I'm just going to dab it, and then I'm just going to add a bit more water. And I can see where the ink is stuck to the surface of the photocopy. At this point, you've got to be quite delicate because you're just using normal thin photocopier paper. You can print onto thicker paper. If you're doing a much bigger piece, you could print onto thicker card, which is a bit more durable. So if you wanted to, if you felt like some of the ink perhaps had come off and you wanted to make sure you got a nice dark print, you could go over it again. But it's harder the second time because you've added water. It's more resistant to the ink, so you might want to use a brush, which is a bit more delicate the second time.
So you don't really need to wait. It just kind of, you can do it straight away.
Just get on with it. Yeah.
What would make you decide to add more ink?
I think because sometimes it can be a little bit hit and miss. This one has worked fairly straightforwardly. I mean, I can see in some areas where it's slightly more delicate, I'm not sure whether the ink has held as well as compared to some of the darker areas where there's more of a